So reporting on the White House often falls to a rotating group of news outlets, commonly known as the pool. Each outlet takes a turn and then shares what they gather with other news organizations. It's a form of media crowd control, like when President Barack Obama hit the links during his summer vacations on Martha's Vineyard. Well, last week, a reporter from the Daily Signal, the media arm of the conservative Heritage Foundation, was chosen to provide pool coverage of the vice president. It didn't sit well with the Washington Post, which called the development, quote, unusual, asking, what's a legitimate news outlet? The Daily Signal's editor-in-chief fired back, defending his reporter, and accused the Post of bullying. Well, here's a question for our lightning round panel. Does the Post have a point about this, or is there a place for basically a partisan media position as a pool reporter? They're not the only ones. We've seen The Root has been the pool. Huffington Post, if you really look at this is conservative, but there have been, by the way, there's almost nothing newsworthy in a pool event. So really, you don't even need a reporter. You can have a robot in there, but I think that the Post overreacted for my money.
I think the Post got it exactly right. And I'll tell you why. You mentioned the Huffington Post, some of these other liberal outlets. They are not the media wing of a private organization devoted to lobbying and policy. The Daily Signal ran this big statement defending themselves. It's the most disingenuous thing I've ever seen in my life because they are part of the Heritage Foundation. I think there is a place for opinionated media at these things, but not part of partisan think tanks.
This is our lightning round, remember that.
Sorry.
Well, let me just say,
fired up.
He's on wrong.
Right. I didn't know that the Huffington Post and the Root and some other people were doing that, so that's interesting. But the fact that they are a part of this policy institution is the difference. And they can point to Jeff Bezos if they want to, but he's not a policy guy. He just puts money into the function. Now, let me say, the pool can make a difference. Remember, it was a pool reporter that mistakenly and did not go to ask the Trump people, is the Martin Luther King bus still in the Oval Office? That was from a pool reporter. So I don't know what's going on in there. So I want a lot more oversight of all the pool, I guess is what I'm saying. But I do believe that it's not as simple.
Should be limited in your mind?
Well, yes, absolutely. I do. So I'm just saying that's an example of how a pool can make a difference, and they're not supposed to. But that guy or person who was in charge of the pool that day should have asked, did you move it or is it still here? That was bad journalism.
Pool is supposed to be straight reporting, practically stenography.
Yeah.
This is what happened. No analysis, no editorialization. And I think as long as you're willing to abide by those rules, it doesn't really matter which outlet you're working for. This particular reporter has been a pool reporter for other outlets in the past. There was no problem there. There was no criticism of his actual pool report. But to Dan's point, this is an organization that does create policy, that does have a lobbying arm, that does have a specific agenda in a way that some of the liberal organizations in the pool do not. Let's see who else they allow in.
We'll see.
And the proof is in the quality of the work, and there have been a number of other news organizations that are owned by foundations, and they do it. The Christian Science Monitor was a religious organization. The Washington Times was owned by Reverend Moon. So it's the quality of the work, I think, and not necessarily the connection to a foundation.
Both of those are still in the pool.
And they're both still in the pool. So.